What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Jared Speaks, episode 14. I just want to take a second and say I'm genuinely grateful for every single person riding this out with me. This show has become something that I did not fully see coming when I sat down to record that first episode. And it keeps growing. And you are the reason for that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for coming back every day. All right, today's episode, I want to start by asking you something. You know that floating dream I talked about on this show? The one I've had since I was a kid? Rising off the ground, going wherever I want, complete peace, somewhat control. Now imagine if I could do that on purpose. Imagine knowing you're in a dream while you're still in it, being fully aware, fully conscious, and having complete freedom to do whatever you want inside a world your own mind created. No rules, no limits, and no consequences. That is lucid dreaming. And today, we're going to talk about what it actually is, what science has proven about it, and how some people learn to do it on purpose, and what it might tell us about consciousness that goes way beyond just having a cool dream. This one connects almost every episode we have done. Let's go. So, what is lucid dreaming? A lucid dream is when you become aware that you are dreaming while the dream is still happening. That is it at its most basic. You are asleep. You are in a dream. And something in you wakes up enough to realize this is a dream. I am dreaming right now. And in that moment, everything can change. Because once you know you're in a dream, you can start to take control of it. You can fly. You can change where you are. You can face something that scares you in a place where it cannot actually hurt you. You can have conversations with people. You can create things. You can go anywhere your mind can picture. For most people, it happens by accident. A random moment in a dream where the awareness kicks in. It might just last a few seconds before you either wake up from the excitement of it or fall back into the regular dream. But for some people, with practice, it becomes something they can actually do on purpose, a skill, a tool. And the reason I find this so fascinating is not just because it sounds incredible. It is because of what it tells us about consciousness, about what the mind is actually capable of when we stop sleepwalking through it, literally and figuratively. Before we get into the science, I want to point out that this is not some modern discovery. Human beings have known about lucid dreaming for a very long time. Tibetan Buddhist monks were practicing something called dream yoga over 1,000 years ago. they use the aware dream state as a spiritual practice, a way to understand that the waking world, like the dream world, is something the mind constructs. That the lines between what is real and what is created by our perception are thinner than most people believe. Aristotle wrote about becoming aware in a dream back in ancient Greece. Indigenous cultures across the world use dream work for healing and connection to something greater. This experience of waking up inside the dream has been part of the human story for as long as there have been humans telling stories. What is new is the science, the ability to actually prove it's happening inside the brain. Here's what researchers have confirmed, and I want to keep this simple because the science is actually more interesting when it's easy to follow. Lucid dreams happen during REM sleep, the stage where regular vivid dreaming happens. The same stage where your body gets locked down so you do not act out on what is happening in your mind. We talked about this in the sleep paralysis episode. But here's what makes lucid dreaming different from regular dreaming. The part of your brain that is responsible for self-awareness, the part that lets you step back and observe yourself, recognizing your own thinking, know that you are you, that part becomes active. Almost like it would be if you were awake. During regular dreams, that part is mostly quiet. That is why in regular dreams, you just go along with whatever's happening without questioning it. But in a lucid dream, it switches on. And suddenly you can observe the dream in the same way you observe your waking life. Scientists proved this was real in a way that is honestly remarkable. They had people who could lucid dream lie in a sleep lab hooked up to monitors. And they agreed beforehand on a signal, a specific pattern of eye movement that the dreamer would perform once they became lucid. And then from inside that dream, while fully asleep, they did it. The eye movement showed up on the monitors exactly as planned. A sleeping brain sending deliberate signal to the waking world. That is not a small thing. That is proof that a part of consciousness can remain aware and intentional even inside a dream. I want to talk about something I think matters a lot for a big part of the people listening to this show. People with ADHD and people with other neurodivergent brain types tend to have more intense dream lives, more vivid dreams, more emotionally charged dreams, and a higher chance of experiencing spontaneous lucid dreaming on their own. And when you think about everything we've talked about on this show, about how ADHD brain filters differently, lets more through, processes things more intensely, it makes complete sense. A brain that is already running a wider scan than most, already picking up more than average, already working differently during waking life, is going to do the same thing during sleep. More intensity, more vividness, more chance of that self aware part of the brain switching on even in the middle of a dream. So, if you have ADHD and you've had moments where you were dreaming and something in you suddenly recognized it as a dream, that is not random. That is your brain doing what it does, running hotter and noticing more. The floating dreams I've had my whole life feel like that to me. Not fully lucid. I was not directing them or changing them, but there was always something about those dreams that felt more conscious than regular dreams, more in control, more aware. Like the part of me knew what was happening, even if I did not fully take the wheel. All right, let me walk you through how people learn to do this on purpose. I'm going to keep this simple and practical because the last thing I want is for this to feel overwhelming. There are a few steps and they build on each other. Step one, start remembering your dreams. You cannot work with your dreams if you cannot remember them. So, the first thing to do is to keep something right next to your bed, whether it be a journal, a phone, anything. And the moment you wake up, before you do anything else, write down or record everything you remember from your dream. Don't wait. Don't check your phone first. Don't get up. Just immediately capture whatever is there before it fades. Do this every day. Even if all you remember is a feeling or one small image, write it down. Over time, your brain starts to treat your dreams as important and it starts holding on to them longer. Step two is reality checks during the day. This is the habit that actually creates the shift. Multiple times throughout your day, 15 or 20 times if you can, stop and ask yourself honestly, am I dreaming right now? And then check. Try to push your finger through your palm. Look at some text, look away, and then look back. In a dream, text almost always changes or becomes unreadable the second time. Look twice. In dreams, the time is usually distorted. Count your fingers. Sometimes in dreams, you have too many or too few. In your waking life, these checks will always confirm you are awake. But here is why you do them. You are building a habit. You are building a reflex. And eventually, that reflex fires inside of a dream. You're standing in the middle of whatever the dream has created, and something in you automatically asks, wait, am I dreaming? And you do the check, and the text changes, or your finger goes through your hand, and the awareness kicks in. Step 3, set the intention before you sleep. As you're drifting off at night, tell yourself clearly and specifically, the next time I am dreaming, I will know that I am dreaming. Say it in your head on repeat. Picture a recent dream and imagine yourself in it becoming aware. Feeling that shift of recognition, that is a dream. You're essentially giving your sleeping brain a mission before it gets to work. Step 4 is the halfway wake up. This one is more advanced but worth knowing about. Set an alarm about 5 or 6 hours after you fall asleep. When it goes off, get up for 20 or 30 minutes, stay awake, think about dreaming, read about it, then go back to sleep. When you go back to sleep, your brain enters REM much faster than it normally would at the start of the night. And because you just spent time focused and thinking, you carry more awareness into that REM state, which creates a much higher chance of becoming lucid. Let's say it works. Let's say you were in a dream and you recognize it. What do you actually do? First, stay calm. This is harder than it sounds, but the excitement of realizing you're lucid can wake you up almost immediately. So the first thing experienced lucid dreamers say is just breathe. Stay calm. Do not let the excitement pull you out. Some people rub their hands together. Some spin in place. These physical actions inside the dream seem to help ground the awareness and keep the dream stable. Then you can do whatever you want. You can fly. You can change the location. You can face something that has been scaring you. Because in a lucid dream, you know it cannot actually hurt you. You can look for answers to something you've been working through. Some people use it to rehearse conversations they need to have. Excuse me. Some use it to create things, music, art, writing. Some just explore because the experience of a world built entirely by their own mind is unlike anything else. There's also something more personal you can do. You can look for the people you have lost, the ones who are no longer here. A lot of people report having conversations in lucid dreams with loved ones who have passed, and coming away from those conversations feeling something genuine, something that goes beyond just dreaming. I think about my grandpa when I say that, and I think about the near-death episode, about what we talked about regarding consciousness and what might exist beyond the brain. If consciousness is something that continues, if the signal keeps going even after the radio breaks, then the aware dream state might be one of those places where those two worlds get close enough to touch. This is where I want to land this episode because I think lucid dreaming is about a lot more than just having interesting experiences at night. If you can be fully aware inside a world your brain created, if you can observe it, direct it, make choices in it, then what does that say about how much of your waking life is also something your brain is constructing? We talked about this in episode 6. Your brain is not showing you reality. It's showing you its version of reality, a filtered, edited, filled in version. And most of the time, you're just going along with it the same way you go along with a dream before you become lucid. Lucid dreaming is a practice for waking up inside your own life, recognizing the patterns your ego is running, catching the filters that are coloring everything that you see, noticing when your reaction is coming from the present moment versus an old program that has been running since childhood. Asking, is this actually real? Or is this just what my brain decided to show me? That is the whole game. And it is the same whether you are asleep or awake. The floating dreams I've had my whole life, peaceful, free, in control, I think they've been showing me something. A version of myself that is not being run by the filter, not weighed down by the noise, just free. Maybe the point of learning to be lucid in dreams is to start bringing a little of that freedom back into the waking hours. That's episode 14, everybody. If you want to try this, start with step 1, just the dream journal. 1 week of writing down your dreams every morning. See what starts to come back to you. See what your mind's been doing while you sleep that you've been missing. Take your time with it. This isn't something that happens overnight for most people. But the people who stick with it describe it as one of the most eye-opening things they've ever explored. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, YouTube, please hit that follow button if you've not already. And a rating if you can spare 10 seconds. It makes a real difference in getting this show to people who need it. Share this one if it got you thinking. You know somebody who would go down this rabbit hole. New episode tomorrow. Stay curious, take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you then.